Abuya Professor Mahazel. Professor Ntute ke tshwane le wena. O Plomeno bani? O Plomeno Kaiser Soze.
So my name is Pontus Raud and I am the project manager for Supermarkets Stockholm Independent Art Fair. The theme of this art fair in Supermarket 2014 is differences. We have been doing a lot of research trips to explore other artist-run galleries in different parts or in the world. But if you look about Europe, you will see that in the west world of Europe, like in Holland, or in the Nordic countries like Sweden, Denmark and Finland, in Spain and in England, there's modern art museums, there's a residence program, there's institutions, and there's a market for the dealers. And so there's like an infrastructure for contemporary art that people are maintaining. But if you go to other cities like Tirana in Albania or Sarajevo in Bosnia Herzegovina, or in Beograd, that's in Serbia, you'll find that they don't have any art museums for modern contemporary art. They don't have any residence program. They can't sustain any continuity for institutions for contemporary art, and that's a problem for artists. This means that in Europe, within Europe, artists have totally different goals and totally different conditions to work under. Well, if we're talking about what is what's the main content of the art fair, I would say that I have seen that artists more want to be creative more with the handicraft. They wanted to take over the handicraft idea again. It's been a couple of years now when everything has been about the surface and the idea and storytelling, but now it seems that the idea it's back to some sort of handicraft movement where people also trying to dig deep in their own culture background, like native culture background. In my talks, they're often in regards about the artist-run gallery, what is an artist-run gallery, and related to an ordinary gallery. And artists, they start a space or a place or a room because they are seeking for autonomy. They want to be the artists. They want to have a room that is independent through the demands of an institution, etc., or for a gallerist that in more search for a process where there's like low resistance. But it's shared. It's shared with other artists and it's shared with an audience. That's what an artist-run gallery is all about. And this art scene is like a laboratorium for contemporary art. If you want to find like impulses and what's happening the next 5 years, you probably will see it in the artist-run gallery, because the ideas that comes up from these galleries are sooner to be the ideas that big galleries then pick like raisins from the big cake. Well, of course, there's election year in Sweden, so a lot of topics has been about art politics, for the conditions for artists. But we will now today have some interesting talks about alternative fundings and different kind of strategies, how how to achieve some sort of income when state funding is dropping out. Because we have seen the tendency that in Europe that they are cutting the culture budgets, and everybody expects more or less that if nothing happens, probably a lot of the state fundings will disappear. And so there is like a vital interest now to find alternative ideas for funding art projects. Well, so in the beginning, Supermarket, we had this agenda that we wanted to inform and visualize the artist-run art scene that's been very neglected for a very long time, and now we see that both institutions and art critics are paying attention to this part of the art world. I would also say that this art fair is like collecting artist-run galleries that has in a year maybe the same amount of visitors that we receive here for a weekend. And also another part of an artist-run gallery often works very locally, because it has not any financial muscles to be participating in other art fairs and stuff, but because that we have such a low fees and really working with the institution and embassies or institutes to finance the trips here to Stockholm, they have the possibility now to meet each other. We also have an informal meeting program which makes this possibility to even meet a little bit more than it should be, because we are more arranging those meetings. Yeah, the good part is that it's 29 countries, which and that we had that Abi Bukhari from Syria managed to come over, and that we have these two galleries from Egypt, and I really think that's interesting that you managed to get these galleries that are so in such a conflict, and that the Swedish audience had the possibility to actually see their works. Bad things, though, is the gallery from Tibetan, from Lhasa, from Tibet. They did not receive passports from the Chinese authorities, and for us that was very surprising. We thought that every citizen in China should have a passport to travel abroad, but this will not be the case for the Tibetan citizens. So they had to smuggle their art pieces out to a Tibetan that was living here in Stockholm, an artist actually who went to the art academy, and so we have their paintings, which is good, but we have not their presence, which is bad. Yeah, well, there is a huge interest in this kind of this huge interest in this art fair, because that it's so international, and it works with this contemporary cutting-edge art scene, and so we will maintain that idea. Maybe we will have to change the venue, because there's a lot of it's happening a lot of in this house, Kulturhuset, which probably forces us to find some sort of other facility. It's always there's very few spots for artists to be heard, and we noticed also that the media is also changing a lot. For us, this supermarket was a surprise, where the media, and then I mean the paper media, the newspapers, that they don't print so much about culture anymore, not about this event. They put it in blogs instead. This is new for us, and of course that we work a lot with social media. We have been working a lot with all these Facebook and Twitter events, and but it was a surprise for us that even the papers, the newspapers, they not now are like quitting to be working with these kind of events like news, and they putting them into blogs, and I think it's they're biting their own tail. Probably there will not be any paper media left in a couple of years, because nobody will ever read about those papers if they are becoming meaningless. So yeah, I don't know, because we do this catalog, this art magazine, and we are distributing it through London through a company called Pineapple Media. And I received a mail for the first time actually from them, that they wanted to know when the magazine is coming, because there are lots of agents wants to have it. And so this is the first time we heard that they're expecting the magazine, they want to have it. And so it seems that abroad our magazine makes a hit. They want this art fair, while Swedish media seems to be very. I think maybe there's this idea about that we are not commercial enough for some conservative papers or something like that. This might be our problem as an alternative art fair in some sense.
Okay, so thank you for your time.
Yeah.